Welcome again. This is the third video of my series where I sketch for low-cost tubers, so if you're interested in the other two videos, head over to them. In the first one I sketched Rachel Maxey, in the second one Snappy Dragon, and in this one I will sketch Katie Bauer. I have already selected a picture of her from her Instagram page and traced the outline so that I have less difficulties getting the proportions right. Katie Bauer will be the next one to sketch some portraits, so stay tuned for her work. I will put a link in the description to the playlist of all videos and also a list where you find all the handles of the Instagram accounts. And as always, I started with the eyes, the nose and the mouth. Here it was really strange because it felt like I was adding a beard, and in the beginning it looked really strange. Only after I had distributed the graphite a little bit, it looked more like a shadow than a beard. With the head, I tried to use the lines to add some texture to it so that it really looks like a straw hat, and then went in and added some shadows. The gloves were somewhat difficult because I already find it difficult to sketch hands, but with gloves on it was even more difficult to me. So I tried to give my best and still have this feeling of a hand. After I have made the first glove, I went on and sketched the pleats of the blouse of the dress, and I tried to add some three-dimensionality to it with those different layers of darkness, but again it was somewhat difficult to make it seem realistic and not just sketched. I always want my sketches to be somewhat realistic. Maybe that is the perfectionism I should avoid, but it's a style I really like, so I always try it. but I'm getting slowly better with finding an end to the sketch, just saying, okay, it's right like it is right now. And it's also something I have realized I often want every sketching I make to be perfect, and that's just not possible. I definitely have favorites out of these 3 portraits. Maybe if you want, you can tell me what is your favorite. I won't tell which one is mine, but it's just the way I sketch. One day I'm really into it and it's really, really good. The other day it's less good. So that's something I had to learn, to not be that perfectionist and be happy with what I have learned through the one or other sketch, even if I don't like it. And I definitely can tell that I have learned in these 3 portraits a lot. I have tried a new technique with the watercolor over the graphite, and I really like it. I will definitely do it way more. Maybe I will sketch even more now because I like the style so much. To me, it just makes it possible to add more detail than just with watercolor and a fine liner. I always had tried to find my style and copied other artists, and this time it's the first time I didn't. I just tried the thing and didn't look up how you do it, or I tried to look it up but I didn't find anything. So maybe that's just the way I had to find my personal style, and I hope I will try more different techniques even in the future, despite that I'm now so happy with that style. Yeah, and I removed a part of the arm because it seemed to be way too big for the rest of the body, even despite the fact that I traced it through. But I think that's the advantage of sketching. You can alter some things, just that it looks a little bit more like you want it to. And for this portrait I decided to add some color. This time I was able to match the face color a little bit better and just started with the face again and slowly added the colors to the hair and the head. And as I said, I usually start with one color and then adding some other colors for the shadows and the lighting so that it really comes to life. Again, I had some difficulties painting the gloves. I think what happened here is that the original photo had a really specific light. It was possibly made in a studio, so there was a bright light at one side and strong shadows to other parts, so it made it difficult for me to figure out what colors I need to use and where to use them and not to make the shadows too strong. And I think that's what made it so somewhat challenging for me to sketch this portrait. I added some color to the dress and it was completely off. So I recolored it and honestly I'm not happy with my color choices. The reddish tone for the shadows is completely off. I don't know why I used a reddish tone. I think because of the little red flowers of the dress, but I think if I would resketch this, I would definitely change the color of the shadows. Adding those tiny flowers was somewhat satisfying and somewhat annoying because I wanted to somehow stay in the pattern, and so also keeping in mind that there are folds and wrinkles, but this made it so difficult. I just added some points randomly and tried to make it look like some little flowers. The last step was to add some tiny yellow dots in the middle of each flower so that it really looks like a flower. Go check out the videos of the other creators. The playlist will be linked down in the description so you can easily find them. And if you felt inspired to sketch, maybe you want to make an own portrait of some of the costumers, then you will find our event on Instagram, so head over there and tag us with the hashtag portraits of costume so that we can see your art. And I'm happy you joined me on this little adventure. So that's it. I have 3 new sketches in my portfolio. I think I have learned a lot in these 3 days with these sketches. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to subscribe, I will make some videos like this or more in the sewing area. Well, I will upload whenever a video is ready, so have a fine day and enjoy your sketching.